I was gonna do like perfect cutoff when like the music changed, and then I missed it because I was telling the Discord server that we were streaming. Hello, everybody. I know. Can't be a Calxiyn stream if we don't do something like that. Okay. Hi, everybody. I know it's like afternoon on a Wednesday, but I'm hoping because it's like summer vacation. Like something I realized recently, this is gonna sound stupid, but I realized that like kids are not at school right now. And that only dawned on me because I've been at school. You know what I mean? Throughout the entire summer. So I didn't realize it, but like kids are off, not kids, teenagers are off school, right? So I'm hoping that we have like, you know, the teenage college demographic where you guys are off school and can like chill during a Wednesday. You know what I mean? So that's my my hope. Or we have, you know, the EU bros, you know, like
the European
time zone. No, Australian, it's, I think it's a morning. It's 1 a.m.
So, Australians with, that can't
Bad
sleep
schedule. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's so,
Australians with insomnia, that's like a major part of our demographic.
Why is our thing all red? Can you guys hear and see us? Are we like, okay, it's, OBS is giving us like poor connection. But I'm not seeing that like in terms of, I'm not seeing that, reflected in the stream. So maybe we'll just wait. We'll just hold out. But yeah, can you guys hear and see us okay? It looks fine. Okay, maybe it was just a problem. It says that the stream is healthy, so, you know, I guess we'll just, pray. I guess we'll just hope that it's okay. I don't know. Do we seem okay, you guys? I know this is gonna be delayed a little bit, so we're gonna get a bunch of, like, yes, all influx, even if we stop talking about it. But, okay, everything's fine for you guys? Good. Hunter, you look so pretty. I missed you Saturday. Well, yeah, so basically, okay. So this is what happened. Wait, what did happen? Why didn't we do this on Sunday? Okay, so on Sunday, I had to sing at the school's, graduation ceremony. Yes. We all sung, for the upper terms, which is why we didn't stream this on Sunday. And so that's why we have to stream today. So like I said, I know it's like Wednesday in the middle of like random like bumfuck afternoon. Like it's not the weekend or anything, but I hope that you guys, you know, are still able to join and enjoy this and everything. And the good thing about this is it doesn't matter if anybody watches because the purpose of this is like the analysis to be turned into a VOD. You know what I mean? Like we used to do for like our RWBY analysis. We used to just record them. We never used to stream them before.
We did.
We used to just record them, not edit them, and like throw them up, right? So it doesn't really matter.
Instead of like our faces, it was just Grimmett clips.
Gameplay.
I think that was my idea.
But yeah.
I remember I got kind of nervous when we started showing our face because I was like.
But now everybody is like, Hunter, what shampoo and conditioner do you use? I want my hair to be as shiny as yours. And I'm just sitting here like, I have like a 12-step curl routine. And people are like, Hunter, what shampoo? And I'm like, Hunter probably uses like Tresemme, like 2-in-1 or something.
That's not true. How fucking dare you?
What shampoo do you use? The people want to know. What shampoo and conditioner do you use, Hunter?
I did use Function of Beauty for a while.
Okay.
Which was very fancy.
Oh, isn't that like the YouTube sponsorship?
Yes,
one? Oh, we should get that. We should get that sponsorship.
Function of Beauty. Now my partner used it and suggested and got me it for my birthday.
Oh, okay. Well, that's nice.
Which was lovely.
No Tresemme 2-in-1.
Not Tresemme 2-in-1. That feels hateful. That comes from an angry place.
It does. I'm sorry. Yes, I apologize.
Do you use mane and tail?
What do you mean, the detangler? Yeah, I have mane and tail.
You actually do?
I don't use it on my hair. I use it on the wigs. But yeah, that's what they recommended. Detangle the wigs. You spray it with the mane and tail, and then you brush it through with like a horse brush.
Being mean to you is so hard because you're such a peculiar individual.
I know.
Where it's just like, yeah, mane and tail is really good for getting out knots. I mean, I guess it is.
On wigs and stuff too.
For those of you who don't know, mane and tail is a shampoo that's prominently used for horses.
Yeah, I mean, I have the spray. It's detangling spray. They sell it on the RWBY website. Anyway. And so, yeah, so that's what happened. You guys are already talking about the episode. We just have not gotten there yet. I'm so sorry. Everybody's asking why there is Jaune discourse.
I bet you that's why Yang's hair is so luscious.
Why? Because she uses
mane and tail.
Oh
right? So
God,
it gets to be wild and curly. I want that to be. Can we like call Eddie Rivas and people?
Man.
Like, does Yang use mane and tail?
Yeah, well, I'll see what what I can do, you know, all these connections
And like
that
Blake, and then like Blake was just like, oh shit, I ran out of my shampoo.
I know.
And Yang was like, hey, want to try mine? And it was horse shampoo, and she was really offended for a week. Anyways.
Okay, so hello, you guys are already talking about Jaune discourse. Listen, okay, we'll get there when we get there, but we're not gonna start with the Jaune discourse. We're just gonna go through things in like chronological order. But yeah, there is a Jaune discourse, okay? I've seen it, but I didn't really understand it, so I didn't say anything.
Was it discourse, or was it just people like, ugh, Jaune?
Well, I think that's the discourse, is people were like, ugh, Jaune, and then other people were like, well, that's rude. Like, you know what I mean? I think that's kind of what happened. Like, there seems to be two camps of people right now.
Yeah.
The camp that does not want Jaune to do anything ever and hates when he's important, which, like, I understand because I was there.
Especially
we
early
were there
on.
for a while, you know.
It was really
and
only
then the
until he
people
got
that
the
don't like
haircut.
that those people said that.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's kind of, but we'll talk about that later.
I really only loved Jaune. Like, I liked him in 4 and 5. I only really loved him after he got, like, queer-eyed and he got a new haircut.
Yeah. And so, you know, we'll talk about the Jaune situation a little bit later. But yeah, the Jaune discourse, it did happen. So
time is a flat circle.
Yeah, it's exactly.
It's 2013
again.
It's
always volume 1, bro.
It's always volume 1.
You know
it's 2013 again. We're gonna go leave and, like, I don't know, listen to Macklemore and watch Winter
Orange
Soldier.
Is the New Black.
Orange is the New Black.
Okay, this is gonna be random, but do you guys have the same experience where every year Orange is the New Black would release after exams?
No, it came out during exams.
Yes, during exams.
And
so that would be the treat for after exams, is you get to watch.
No, I watched
Orange
it
is the
during
New Black.
exams, and my exams faltered because of that goddamn Netflix show.
Okay, I did it after my exams. I don't know if you guys would have that experience, because, like, exams in June may be regional, like, you know what I mean? Regionally dependent, but yeah. So we've spent 9 minutes talking about anything except
other than RWBY.
Oh my god. So yeah, let's just get into this, right? So yeah, they're just arguing. So here's something I don't understand about this episode. I'm not sure how they got to the Ouroboros, Ouroboros area? Yeah. And so, like, that's the only thing I don't understand is, like, where they, like, left
I think
into
that's getting back to, like, the dreamlight nature of the world.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. And so this is interesting, right? That Weiss considers RWBY as, like, precious. That's why she's, you know, locking them up in the tower. She wants to keep them safe. And I thought that was interesting just because, like, that's something I guess RWBY doesn't really realize until she talks to Pyrrha and stuff, because Pyrrha's the one who's like, oh yeah, like, if you have something precious, you want to, like, lock it up and make sure that it's safe, right? And I was like, okay, Pyrrha.
That's a weird...
You know?
That's a weird way of viewing, like, relationships.
Right, but that's,
like,
you know,
but, like,
it's
that's
the dream,
how,
right?
but that's how, like...
And that's how Weiss was treated.
That's how, like, Weiss was treated. It's just, like, people are property to you.
Yeah, I mean, not even just that, but, like, you lock things away to make sure that they stay with you and never leave you.
Maybe what's that anxious attachment style?
Yeah,
Maybe that's representative. Maybe more representative of seeing people as objects.
Here's what I'll say, okay?
Anxious.
Winter left her. So what if the reason why she wishes she could lock people up is because, like, Winter was able to run away? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she locks people up, they can't leave her.
Anxious attachment style,
yeah. So that's kind of how I see all of this. Is like,
I would love, like, a Freudian analysis of Weiss's...
Guys, I should have gotten my psychology degree. I was, like, halfway to a psychology minor, and I didn't get it. I should have just finished it. Like, you know what I mean? Then I could have said I had a psychology backing.
Every time we look at these characters, I pause and I say, Blake and Weiss look amazing. Yes. And this is me saying that Blake and Weiss look amazing.
Look at this. I love her little, like, come here. You know? And so I wonder,
it's so cool.
I do wonder, okay, so this is going to be random, but I do wonder if we are going to see Adam. Like, with only 6 episodes left, it's kind of seeming like, you know, like, unlikely-ish to see Adam. What is it?
I'm just saying, I guess Adam's not the coke one.
I thought somebody was outside.
No.
I was like, like, no? Like, you know, I thought that's what you were all looking at me. Yeah, and so, I don't know. It's not that I've given up on Roman, okay? But, like, I don't know. I'm just saying, right? I really thought, when I saw that Penny and Sun were in this episode, I had some hopium, okay? Because I thought, like, oh, maybe they're going back to a flashback when, like, before the dogfight or around the dogfight. Also, okay, here's my beef. Somebody that works on the show, I don't know their role exactly, but they made a tweet. Okay, like the Ice Queendom account gave a quote by them, and it was roughly to the effect of, "Oh, I love the dogfight in RWBY Volume 1. I can't wait to see, like, you know, what happens to Penny here." And that kind of gave me, like, the wrong impression, because they said they liked the fight, and that they couldn't wait to see how it played out here. But I guess they didn't mean the fight, they meant Penny in her existence.
Yeah.
You know, so I got the wrong impression that we were gonna see the fight,
that
you know?
the fight was gonna happen, but they weren't sure.
But, like, I don't know, like, it was just a weird phrasing issue, and so I was like, Hunter, does this mean that we're gonna see the dog fight? Because it was just the way that the person had said it, you know what I mean? Like, they said, "Oh, I really liked that Penny fight, like the dog fight in Volume 1. Can't wait to see how it all plays out here." I was like, does that mean we're gonna see the fight? Like, I was so confused. Like, you know what I mean? I was so confused. But I guess they just meant, can't wait to see, like, how Penny, you know, like, what other conversation she had that we never got to see, right, with Yang. Because that's, like, you know, canon adjacent. You could say that this is canon if you want to, that Penny and Yang had this convo.
This is stuff, like, giving me weird... Okay, so go back to that above. So look at... Maybe we might need to show this.
Okay.
When you look at... maybe this is just my weird brain, but when I look at Weiss from that height, it looks like someone in a sleeping bag.
Oh!
And, like, her shoulder
like she's sleeping.
Or like a pillow.
Yeah, like, okay,
and
so
that's
this
her
is her
face,
head.
and that's her little
and
mouth.
And then she's in, like, under a curtain, and she's, like, lying back, and she's doing a little bit of this. She's asleep. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not gonna lie.
I'm
not gonna lie. I did not notice anything you talked about. All I noticed is that the robots look like PS2s from, like, a top perspective.
But do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like, this is the bed, this is her head, this is her arms. If you're going to sleep like this, right? And, like,
oh my God,
that's a pillow. Well, I don't know if that's intentional or just...
That's absolutely not intentional. My brain just finds these things. But, like,
goodness. Guys, we'll get to the Jaune discourse. I promise you. Hold all your Jaune questions to the end.
The Jaune discourse is like BTS. And we are the Grammys. And we know a lot of you people are only staying for BTS. So what do? We put BTS at the end of the show.
Oh, Hunter, you're so funny. Oh my God. Okay, anyway.
Also, is it socially acceptable to dress like that in public?
Probably not. They would probably think you're some, like,
bizarre.
I'm not gonna say what,
but I know we're thinking about the same thing.
Right?
Questionable military organizations.
You could have, like, maybe a jacket like this, but no military stuff on it. You could probably imagine this, but, like, studded or something, like leather,
if
like
it was
black,
leather or latex.
Right?
If it was like a shiny latex, and I looked very gay, so no one thought I might be a...
Yeah. That, you know. So, but I think you could pull it off if it was, like, a different color, you know what I mean? If it looked like leather-y, you know.
Also, that dog sneezed, and he's the sneezy one, and I really... As someone who loves sneezy dogs...
I wonder if the dog thing is, like, that Klein is obedient, and so that's why he's a dog. Or I wonder if it's also, like, how do you say it? Like, that she's always wanted one, and so now she has one in the dream, like, because I don't think that, you know, her family probably
maybe that's how they fix it. They bring Zwei into the dream.
Oh my God, they bring Weiss a real dog? Oh dear.
Imagine if they, but like, if I was writing this show, I would
But it would be alien to her, because she wouldn't know what Weiss is.
I would bring Zwei in just to, like...
Yeah, so here's what I don't understand. So RWBY goes somewhere, and she ends up here, and I don't get it. Like, you know what I mean?
I think part of it's, like, the dream logic, where you turn a corner, and then suddenly you're in a, like, totally random place.
Yeah, I guess so, but I was just like,
you know what my reoccurring bad dream is as of late? My reoccurring bad dream is that I'm this age.
Right.
And I'm back in elementary school. In my grade 7 Miss F's class.
Okay.
And nothing about it makes sense.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm in my 20s. All these people are also in their 20s.
Yeah.
I can't do basic arithmetic.
Okay.
It doesn't make... If only I would be like, why am I back in my elementary school? This doesn't make sense. And I would wake up in a jolt. But you don't. Because you just accept the insanity.
I have those dreams about my elementary school too sometimes.
I never have those dreams about high school.
No, I don't either.
Never.
It's only elementary school.
Not university.
Yeah, it's only elementary school.
It's only elementary school, and I don't know why.
This is groundbreaking, like, information. Also,
if Kingdom of Ice was me,
yeah.
you just have to, like, RWBY and the team would have to fight their way through a Catholic school.
Oh my god.
And it would be, like, 2 times more frightening.
Yeah, I know what it represents and stuff because, you know, I stan Calliope and one of her songs is named after this concept, right? And so, yeah, like, I know what the snake means. I'm just wondering, like, how the fuck did she get here? But I guess it's like Hunter said, right? It doesn't need to make any sense.
And, like, she walked through a door and she came out of its mouth.
Yeah, I guess so. So I guess she just walked somewhere and came through the snake. Right? Like, I guess this is the way, like, down the hallway, or I guess they can't see that, but do you guys know what I mean? Like, this way is, like, down the, like, from the hallway, and then it, like, went like this, you know? It makes sense,
With the Ouroboros, like, my interpretations, I don't know what the original interpretation is, but my understanding is either, like, recursivity, like, just doing the same thing to the same ends over and over again, or it's, like, self-destruction. And I think either of those interpretations do kind of work for Weiss.
Mm-hmm. I would say, like, in the context that I've heard it, I've definitely heard it in what you're saying, like, self-destruction, because it's a snake doing the same thing, doing it, like, eating its own tail.
As it would, like, a mouse to itself.
You know, obviously, like, it has, like, infinity, like, reference, because it's in that, like, symbol,
I've seen it in, like, a circle, and not the infinity
But
symbol.
maybe that's intentional, too, like, to have, like, it be infinity. Like, maybe Weiss thinks that there's no escape, you know? Like, this
My
will just keep,
understanding,
like,
the
repeating.
infinity symbol is also a symbol for ADHD.
What?
Yes!
That's so random, I've never heard of that before.
It is. I think ADHD and autism. So what if it's just like, all right, what we gotta do is we gotta slam Ritalin.
Oh, no. But I do think that, like, with, like, the snake thing, like, it's sort of interesting just because I wonder if that's how Weiss sees, like, her, like, the way to her heart or something, because that's the way to the vault, isn't it? So it's like that there's no way to change, like, it's kind of, like, impossible in a way. And so I think that that's sort of interesting. But yeah, Yang gets sleepy in the dream. And so here's my crack theory, okay? This is, like, also, Yang is just so cute. Can we just, like, appreciate, like, protect? Like, she's just so adorable. But here's what I'm sort of thinking. Yes, Ice Queendom is a big Persona reference. Like, like, there's so much Persona, Kingdom Hearts, like, stuff going on, especially, like, finding the monster, like, oh, we secured the route to the Grim, like, now we know where it is, so let's go back and get, like, it definitely,
That's what I
like,
said when I said it feels like a video game.
Yeah,
Because it's like they're having multiple tries, and it's like a level.
This would make a great video game. Honestly, I could see that being like, because here's the thing, okay? This is what I've heard. Take this with a grain of salt. I'm not going to say that this is true. But I have heard that, you know, it can sometimes be hard for people to do things with RWBY, because there aren't a lot of gaps in time. Yeah, it's right? Like nobody wants to do, like, Volume 4 when they're all not together for, like, obvious reasons.
What if they did Volume 5 and it's just, like, Cooking Mama and it's just Jaune making that giant bowl of soup?
And so, like, there aren't a lot of times to have stuff. And that's why, like, with Volume 7, to have that time passage, right? And then the game goes perfectly in there. Yeah. So I would surmise that maybe that passage of time was intentionally brought in. Yeah. And I'm not saying this just because, like, I'm not saying this that I heard this in a Rooster Teeth context. I heard this in a context with a different company. Yes. And it just dawned on me that it could apply to Rooster Teeth, right? It sort of reminds me of how, like, I think that we talked about this one stream, but that the executives may have asked for that, like, spirit in Frozen to be this little lizard thing so they can make a plush toy. Yes. I heard it in that sort of context from another company, but I can't talk about where because anyway, it involves something that I wasn't supposed to hear it, but I was somewhere I wasn't supposed to be.
Sources.
But it's not Rooster Teeth. It's not Rooster Teeth. But I heard that in a different context from a different, like, company before. That this idea to include passages of time in terms of, like, a game's timeline, for example, so you can make a show, something like The Witcher, or, like, vice versa, to have gaps in a show's timeline so you can make games or books. Kind of like the Dragon Prince. The Dragon Prince did that as well, right? So all this to say, you know, it's sort of logical that if you made Ice Queendom, why not make an Ice Queendom video game? Because you've already made the room for the canon-adjacent time period. You could also make the game, right?
I mean, they're doing that new RWBY game, the oh god, what is it called again?
Yeah, Arrowfell.
Arrowfell. What if they
the
did like
Volume 7
Ice
timeline,
Queendom,
right?
like DLC? I'd be so down for that.
I mean, DLC or like a different game company, maybe. Like it would make sense that a logical progression for IQ could possibly be to make a game. The story's already there for you.
Yeah.
Why not play it? Right? It would be cool.
Yeah.
It's like a JRPG and stuff. Anyway, and so we talked about a bit too long about that.
I don't know. Want to talk about Orange is the New Black again?
Yeah, oh God. But yeah, you guys know what I mean. I think that would be very interesting that they've already carved out this gap of time to have IQ. So why not capitalize on that gap of time again and make a JRPG? Because it already has so many JRPG elements. This idea of going in and outside of the palace over and over again, kind of like Persona.
Yes.
And like, imagine you could walk around the school and like talk to people. That'd be so much fun. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you go and you have like lunch with like Juniper and Stelly. I think that would be so cute.
As much, but then I also feel like everyone just wants everything that they love that takes place in a school, like magical school, to get like the Persona treatment.
Sure, but this already has Persona elements, so
That's
I could
true.
see I can already see the game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a cool like hack and slash too. Like I think that like Persona 5 Strikers I think would be really cool. Okay, so here's the weird thing. I did not understand this whatsoever. Like there's a bubble, it pops, and then we see that he wakes up. I don't get it.
Was
I
that
don't
like
understand.
you know the thing where like people have snot bubbles in animated
when they're sleeping, but it looked like a bubble, like a genuine bubble. So there's some weird stuff that happens in this episode.
Could that have been like a bumper for
commercial? I don't know. But yeah, there's some weird things going on. Here's my crack theory. Oh yeah, I was going to talk about my crack theory before we started talking about how Rooster Teeth should hire me to figure out their video game integration. And so what I was thinking was like,
gamers.
What if, crazy, what if they're in Weiss's dream, but they're also in another dream in real life? Like Shion has a dream, you know what I mean? So this is Weiss's dream. Like, Momoshka doll? Like, you know what I mean? But yeah, like, you have this, okay?
But there's a dream within
then
a dream?
there's a dream, and then Shion is a different dream. Because there's some weird stuff that happens in this episode that I think is kind of suspicious.
This is very Inception.
And so I'm wondering if that'll be the final twist, that, like, they beat Weiss in the nightmare, but it's not over. Because Shion has also made a dream. And I say that, too, because they recently confirmed that Shion is supposed to be based off of Maleficent. And I'm assuming also Aurora because of the color scheme, right? And so, like, Maleficent was bad. And that hasn't stopped a RWBY character before. Like, we have tons of bad RWBY characters.
Like, what if he was responsible for the Grimm? Like,
well, that's what we were thinking, right? That, like, Shion was, like, responsible for the Grimm and stuff. So I sort of wonder, because there's some weird shit that happens this episode. I don't know. But yeah, and so let's go back, like, the snake thing, because that's not as, like, important as, like, but there's a phone call with Blake that I think is kind of weird. Oh, actually, there's a fight scene here. We can't skip.
Ladies.
We can't skip too far. Also, Klein has like a little
sword.
You know.
Who gave Klein a gun? Or
like,
not a gun, that's a sword. I know what things are.
You know?
Who gave him sharp objects? I don't trust that man with
I'd skip all of this just to say it's non-canon, but it's canon adjacent. That's what they want you to like, you know what I mean? They want you to believe it's canon adjacent.
I like how, like, hey, remember that, like,
nobody
random
wants
guy
to do things
up?
that aren't canon. That's a problem. Like, you know what I mean? Because then people won't care. So as long as they say it's a little canon. Shion has been confirmed to be non-binary, I believe. And so yeah, so that's something as well. I don't know how I would feel about them making their, like, kind of first non-binary character kind of evil, like, you know, but yeah.
As a morally dubious person,
because so I had a theory,
agree.
right? Like that maybe Shion is doing this so they can put Salem in an eternal sleep, and or they're using, like, the kids as, like, test subjects. You know, kind of like a Merlot situation, right? Because that would be a great way to stop Salem, right? Just put her asleep, you know, in theory. If they could, I guess. Like, put her in eternal sleep. And so maybe that's what he's trying to do, like, get a Grimm strong enough, or, sorry, that's what they're trying to do, is, like, make a Grimm strong enough to be able to, like, intercept Salem, right? Because that'd be interesting. She'd be stuck in eternal sleep, right? If Shion knows about Salem, because not everyone does, but Crow does, right? Even before the big reveal. Crow knows about Salem in Volume 3, I believe, right? So, I don't know. maybe. I'm just saying, could be interesting, right? But yeah. And so I would say that maybe it's like morally ambiguous, where it's like, but Ozpin, you don't understand. I needed to test out the Grim, or else how would we be able to stop Salem? Like, it could be a bad situation.
If it only were that, I thought that Salem would be like the Grim couldn't hurt her.
Yeah.
I do feel like that would be very effective. But like, what if Oz is just like, you dipshit?
Yeah,
no, she controls them.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. And so that's sort of what I'm thinking, that it could be like something like that. So this is interesting too, right? Like, I drag you out again and again, and you keep coming back. You keep sneaking into my sacred places, which is like interesting, like language, I guess, right? Like that, even though she's trying not to think about Blake, she still thinks about Blake and like clearly cares about Blake. And I think that's. And I think that that's great. I know that I don't think that Shion's an antagonist like that they're malicious towards.
Yes.
I feel like it's more that they're kind of like a scientist and they want this to work to stop Salem. That's basically what I was sort of like thinking, right? But at this point, like, I don't know. Like, obviously I think that now if you're caught up with RWBY, the Japanese audience would know Salem, but I wonder if they would be hesitant to bring Salem in this early when she was never like a thing this early in the story. But like now in hindsight, all the characters knew about Salem at this point in time. So I would say that it would be, I don't know, I think it would be interesting, right? I think it would be fair game. Even if the kids don't know what they're talking about, we could see, I guess, as the audience, that Shion was doing it to stop Salem. I don't know, that's just a thing. But yeah. So yeah, I think that this was like super interesting, the little conversation that they had here. Yeah, morally gray, that's basically what I mean. Or it's like, they never wanted anyone to get hurt. They were really confident that Team RWBY could save Weiss. They didn't want, they thought that, Jaune's weak, so we'll infect Jaune to make this Grim start to be powerful. Then we'll infect Weiss to, like, make the Grim more powerful, but take it out just as, just before Weiss dies, right? Like, they could have thought that it would have been okay, basically. That, everything would have been fine, but maybe now they're realizing, like, ah, shit. Things are not fine, right? And I think that the not running out of dust thing is interesting, just because, obviously. So what's interesting is about this is, like, I wonder if Winter, like, if she asked Winter to pass judgment, if Winter would actually disagree with Weiss. Because that's something part of the Snow White story, is that Snow White always asks the mirror, like, magic mirror on the wall, or is it mirror? Anyway, magic mirror on the wall, like, who's the fairest of them all? And it always replies, like, Snow White, like, you know what I mean? It always says Snow White after a certain point. So I wonder, something that would be interesting is, like, what if Weiss actually asked for Winter's opinion and Winter disagrees with her? That'd be an interesting, like, conflict for the dream, right? Because it's like, I won't even wait for my sister to pass judgment. But what if Winter did pass judgment and didn't agree with anything? And that's why she's not asking her to, I guess, I think that's interesting. But yeah, I like the conversation. The fight scenes are, like, okay. Like, they're not the focus, I would say, right? Because, like, there's some interesting, like, moves and stuff like that, but it's mostly, like, making decoys and then escaping. Like, I wouldn't really call this isn't, like, a RWBY fight scene, at least not these ones,
Although something I did notice, and that you see there for a moment with Weiss, is that they render the characters in 3D more now. And I don't know if I just wasn't noticing it earlier.
It seems like that's what they're doing for the fights anyway. It's hard to tell, but we'll see that more later in the Vine section, right?
Weiss did just turn three-dimensional for a brief moment.
Yeah, and so I think that's probably because it's easier, right?
Probably.
Blake sure took you for a ride. That's pretty funny. I think that conversation was, like, interesting between Blake and Weiss, but I think it's definitely giving. I mean, maybe I'm just reading too much into it, but I see that as, like, monochrome energy, that, like, Blake's always on her mind. She can't get rid of Blake out of her head, you know what I mean? Like, it's definitely, given the monochrome, and so I think that that's definitely, an interesting idea that maybe Weiss is just, like, she just has crushes on everyone and doesn't know how to handle it. All of this is a metaphor for someone figuring out that they like women for the first time.
Well, it reminded me of an old Tumblr post about, like, when I was a kid and I didn't know I was gay, there was this really pretty girl in my class and I kept on getting so flustered and nervous around her. So I sent her a note that just said, "Please go away."
Oh no!
And that's the vibe that I get from Weiss. Just like, "Please go away. You're making me feel things."
Yeah, that's kind of what I am getting as well. So what's interesting here is like, is this not the garden where her and Winter have the little fight, you know what I mean? Like in volume 5, or like reminiscent of that? Because I'm sort of wondering if like, I don't know, that's when she felt like free or like capable, when she fought Winter in the garden and Winter was helping her train to go to Beacon, and that's when she actually felt like she could escape this, and so maybe that's why like her heart is here. Right? Because that's also the conversation where Winter was like, I won't always be around to, like, protect you, Weiss. But, like, in general, could this be here for that reason? Like, this sort of idea that, like, that's when she felt like she could finally escape Jacques, and so that's why, like, her heart is here. Like, this is kind of the one place he can't get to as well, maybe. Also, I don't know if it's just a reflection, but the plants are upside down. Do you guys see that?
Oh, goodness.
Like, there's just another, like, area, or I guess, you know, and so I thought that was
also very Inception-y.
Yeah. And so I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, the vines open up when she uses the relic, which I think is interesting. Ew, it's pitch black. I wonder what ew is supposed to translate to, because Nora also says ew about Jaune at one point, but I don't think it's actually supposed to mean, like,
Ew.
like, yucky ew.
Is there, like, a different...
It probably means, like, it's all black, like, in here. Like, I can't see anything. Like, startled, maybe?
But, like, ew is typically, like, with disgust, or,
yeah, and so that's why I'm like, I don't know.
Is there just a Japanese, like, ew equivalent?
I don't know. I don't know why it's translated that way, because I have a feeling it's not.
Yeah, I don't... That's the... There's
I
not
love
a
how you did not pick that up.
It's not a one-to-one, I suppose, translation, but it would be interesting to see what the, like, Japanese ew is.
This was definitely giving, like, you know, Kingdom Hearts, like, Hollow Bastion with all the thorns and stuff.
Are there a lot of thorns
and, like,
and stuff?
Yeah, because Maleficent's there, right? So her thorns are all on this door where the Princesses of Heart are, and then, like, you open up, like, the door and stuff, and it kind of has the same, like,
I think they should have gone farther. I think that, like, Weiss should have paid so little attention to Ruby's weapon that it's actually just like a keyblade.
Oh
she has
my
big,
god.
Like, goofy ass clown shoes.
So here's the weird part, okay? This is why I'm sort of sussing that there's like a problem with the dream, okay? Because when Blake and Yang have this conversation, it has her phone in red and highlights it for some reason.
And it just goes...
she's muffled. So I'm like, well, what the fuck is that?
It's not even that she's muffled. It's just harsh, loud static.
Yeah, and so I'm just like, could they not get Blake to record the lines? You know what I mean? So I'm sussing that. I think that that's weird. You know? Oh, this is funny. Can I tell this story? I'm thinking. So I was at my vocal coach last night.
Okay.
Because during the off from school, because you're not supposed to keep your vocal coach during your duration of your training, but during the off season, I guess, during my break, I go to see her, you know, so we can, like, work on stuff, and I can keep my voice in shape over the break, right? So I was at her house, and her husband, for some reason, said sustenance, I guess. I don't remember what the context was, but I think it was, like, I don't know, I can't remember. It was, like, about a plant or something, like, the, you know, oh, but the plant still needs, like, sustenance or something. I don't remember. Or maybe the dog. The dog had to be fed or something. Anyway, so, like, and then her kids were like, did you just say sus? And I died. It was so funny, and I had to stop. I was cracking up. I was laughing so hard, and I was like, I know what that means. I don't think that...
I'm hip with
I don't think that, like, I don't know if my teacher would know that it's, like, from Among Us, and it's like, oh, you're sus, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if she would know all that, but I was just dying, because they're like, what? They're like, I don't know, 4 and 5, like, they're really, like, little kids, and they were like, did you just say sus? And it was so funny. Anyway, so basically I'm sussing the fact that the phone was all weird. Like, maybe it is dream logic, but I think it's weird. Like, and why did they have this red evil background, right? Like, I think it's mostly the background that's making me feel like
horror.
It's weird.
It's like unnerving.
It's
like
horror movie-ish,
everyone
right?
is acting like the thing that unnerves me the most is when everyone is acting like nothing's wrong when something's clearly wrong.
And like they just called Blake on the phone and then she comes through the door. So I'm like, is this the real Blake? Like, I don't know. I'm so like paranoid, but I'm thinking that the dream may be like breaking down or getting more unnerving in some capacity or something. Like, I'm just scared. I feel like something bad's like happening, right? And so yeah, I mean, this conversation conversation between them. It's just the coin count. It's not that important. But RWBY decides to like save hers to escape and whatever, right? And so Yang not wastes, but like she tries to call Shion and it does not work, right? And so what's interesting about like this is like I wonder.
Her cat face there for a moment.
Her cat face. Let me see.
Yeah.
I mean, she's happy. She's like, oh yeah, we're finally doing this. Weiss is gonna be safe. And then it's like, LOL now.
You know what's really upsetting about the human face?
What?
Is that there's no way to like humanly recreate
a cat
a cat face.
Maybe you could with like some practice. I don't know. But yeah,
it's just you always like look like you're frowning or constipated.
So this seems like this is again persona, the treasure, right?
Yes.
Like you know what I mean? What the person
that
values
looks to be
most.
the big grim there.
Yeah, and so like I don't get this though. I think that you guys are gonna have to help me out in terms of analyzing this. Because they're in the theater and the Grim has the dress above it, like as if like that's like something, you know, that Weiss treasures and is important. But like I don't really get what that means. Like the only thing I could really come up with is that like
freedom.
yeah, like Weiss feels most free when she's performing because that's kind of like the one time she's like let out into Atlas society maybe is when she's singing for the family or something. That's like the only thing that I came up with, like, because if we're thinking about before this point, we don't really know what Weiss did before Beacon, but it's kind of implied that she was like, you know, homeschooled or like she only got brought out for like events and stuff when she could be useful to like boast her father's reputation, right?
Maybe
and
that's
so
what she wants is to be valued and useful.
Yeah. Like the only time that she seems to go out is like during when she's like singing and stuff for like charity things. So like that's, I don't know, I'm assuming that that's like why. It's because like maybe singing is what like gave her some freedom,
I think she just wants to feel valued.
Yeah.
I think that's better than freedom.
Yeah, that may be true too. Like that's when she feels most valued is when she's performing for people or something. And so yeah, like that's the only thing I didn't quite like land on the interpretation
and
of
I feel
why
like
the nightmare is
that
here.
would be good if it was just like I didn't need this. That is not what gives me value. I give me value.
It could also be that, you know, Weiss feels like everything's just a performance.
Yeah.
That this is just a performance to make her dad happy. This isn't like the real her that she is inside. I could see that being like the opposite interpretation of why, you know, the Grim is here, because they keep saying that that Weiss in the dream isn't real. Yes. You know what I mean? So,
this is back to this being really funny because she's just like Moshi Moshi hi, and she's just so happy and round.
I like
and
that
and then the ice pops out and she's like dodging it.
And so what's interesting about this, too, is I wonder, because, you know, it's the opera house, right? So I do wonder, in terms of, like, this and the curtains closing, if this is kind of, like, supposed to represent that this is backstage. You know what I mean? This is, like, you're not supposed to see this, right? Because this is backstage. This is, like, behind the scenes, not part of the show. And Weiss closes the curtains so they don't see behind the scenes anymore, right? And so I wonder if that could be it as well, is like with the curtains opening, that was sort of like the behind the scenes, like look at Weiss when she's not in performance. Because that's what it is, like life is a stage and then there's behind, you know, the life that she presents for her father and in front of Atlas Society and whatever, right? You have that stage, but then behind the scenes, that's how she really is. So I wonder if like the Grim was almost close, because it seems like there's also a door behind this area as well. So it almost seems like that, like maybe the Grim was in front of the door, and that door is like actual Weiss. That's a backstage section that like the actors go into when they're done playing their role, right? That's what the Grim is blocking. Also, yeah, man behind the curtain, that could also work as well. I mean, that in itself is kind of theatrical, right? Like what the Wizard of Oz does. And so she's like, nope, like this is the performance, focus on me. Like we're closing that curtain so you can't see like what's behind the scenes,
no insecurities here.
Exactly, right?
That is interesting. Yeah.
And so I think that could
also,
be the
there
metaphor.
is like the it's easier to tell like the 3D modeling with
you think that they're 3D here?
Or next one?
Because I think I do see what you mean, like with Yang and stuff like that. Yeah, I guess you're right that they could be 3D models.
And like when
they're getting like tossed
Weiss
around.
does the flip forward, she looks 3D for a brief moment.
Yeah, let's we'll look at that a bit more closely. But like the relic and stuff, I'm assuming that Jaune's gonna get the relic back, because he's immune apparently, and like something they talked about was like, don't get touched by the thorns or you'll have like itchy and scratching and you could go into shock and die.
Yes.
Right? And so that's what they talked about, like, you know, because RWBY got injured. I'm assuming that's why he really wanted to pull them out of everything, right? And so yeah, it seems like that they put the Grimm maybe behind. Or no, they kicked them out of the theater, never mind. And so, yeah, and so I think that this is interesting. Like, Weiss is saying, like, I just want to, like, protect what's precious to me, but RWBY won't really understand that until she talks to Juniper. And RWBY doesn't know that what's precious to her is them, you know? Right? And so I feel like that's interesting.
I didn't get this moment to say this, but the actual design of the Grimm was really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that big knot of the vines, and it's because like that's kind of what self-doubt looks like.
Damn, Hunter,
like just
that's
very
pretty
tangled and confusing and sharp.
Yeah, I mean it could also just be like Snow White reference too as well.
That's fair.
You know, like the poison apple shape.
That's also what that big tangled sign kind of looked like.
Yeah, yeah.
It was in a kind of similar shape, and the big like red eye. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed the design.
They took out Yang's JoJo pose. What?
What?
When was that? What?
There was
I don't remember this.
There was a JoJo pose?
I don't know. Anyway, copyright infringement question mark? And so yeah, then she gets on Yang's
JoJo's
ass.
Bizarre Adventure is not allowed to complain to anybody else about copyright infringement.
That is very true. But yeah, and so I think that this is interesting because she says the same thing she said like in real life, you know? And so I think that that's interesting because I think that what Weiss is implying is like that RWBY is naive, that she doesn't understand, because like Weiss is trying to explain like, why don't you understand? Like I'm locking you guys up so you don't get hurt. But RWBY's basically saying, but why would you lock us up if you care about us? And like Weiss is blaming Yang that RWBY is too naive about the world. That you can't just, you know, go up and face your father and like everything's okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like you have to put barriers around who you care about or else
yes.
they'll get hurt by that. So that's kind of how I see this conversation, I guess, is that Weiss is basically blaming Yang for RWBY not understanding. Because like if this was in like plain language and they both said what was actually going on, right? Like I'm sure RWBY would be like, but we'll just like, you know, talk to your father and everything. But like Yang hasn't instilled that that's not how the world works into RWBY. So I feel like that's what Weiss is kind of criticizing. But yeah, as Yang is walking, I see what you mean about her being three-dimensional or something. Like I kind of understand. She looks different somehow compared to like the other shots with her. So I do think that maybe during the combat that's what's happening. Right? I'll lock the three of you away forever. You know? Weiss is blaming Yang because she doesn't want to blame RWBY. Yeah, see, I mean, that's kind of true, too. It's like, well, you can't blame RWBY because RWBY genuinely doesn't seem to know, so it's Yang's fault, right? And so, yeah, again, there are so many decoys. They have to make plushies of these decoys, right? Like, there's so many of them.
Just don't make them life-sized.
Yeah, I mean, they could be like that size, like, you know what I mean? Like the sort of Kingdom Hearts ones that we have in the corner over there. Yeah, they could be like that, you know what I mean? But yeah, and so yeah, Sora and Kairi, they could be like that size. But yeah, like I understand what you're saying. Like RWBY does look like three-dimensional. Yeah, she's,
right there.
She's definitely
totally 3D.
She's totally a 3D model. So I think that's
and I just
so
thought
cool.
it was a little jarring at times.
I mean, I barely noticed it, though,
I know,
but I do think it's cool.
I guess I'm finicky about that, I suppose. I mean,
I understand, though, why
I always notice
right?
when
like
like
look
that
at this. Yeah, you can really see it, like, right here, I think, too.
Yeah.
It definitely looks like a 3D model, so I think that's just pretty cool, right?
Yeah, right there.
And, like, even in the fight, like, on this one, I think that that's, like, really interesting, too. Like, you can definitely tell. I don't know. I just think, see? And they already have 3D models, so just put the 3D models in the video game, and then we can have the video game of RWBY Ice Queen.
I don't know. It's just something about the transition from the 2D to the...
This is so cute.
What is Flat Stanley doing over here?
Oh my god.
That's so I like that when she pops in like a confetti of
I mean,
hair.
I think they all do that as well. But yeah, then we get the fuck out of the dream, basically. That's the next thing that happens. Because, you know, RWBY also gets cut by, like, the Grimm, so that's not good. Like, I feel like that RWBY could have, like, died there or something if they left, like, the wound untreated. That's kind of the implication. Oh my god. That's kind of the implication that I got from that. But yeah, I thought that this fugitive will wake up like he's relieved, I guess, at least. I can sense that all the markers in the dream have been destroyed. We have no choice but for you to enter a third time and replace them. So I'm just like, God damn it. They have to do this all over again. You know, it's so, again, very video game-esque situation going on here. But yeah, I don't think that we need to go through all of this, because basically he's like, my aura needs to heal, go figure stuff out, man.
And like after does he mention like the timeline?
I don't think so. Oh wait, does he? If you do not succeed
next attempt.
Yeah, she'll die, basically.
It's basically like I won't have after the next time there won't be another shot. Yeah. She's already progressed too far.
Because, okay, but like there's two things. Like it could be that, you know, she's gonna die because the Grim will suck out her aura, I guess. But I also see it like, Weiss hasn't eaten any food or anything. Like, they can't get her food, they can't get her water.
But it's only been like a day or two. You can survive without water or food for a day or two.
Yeah, but like, I feel like it's been longer than that.
I don't think
because she's having lunch. You know what I mean? She's eating like a whole meal right now. Well, it
happened the night, so, and then they probably found her in the morning. And then they woke up in the morning,
and so like,
this is
I don't know.
That looks more like dinner to me.
Won't you die without water in like 5 days?
I think it's also like, it's like, what is the condition? Like, she's in an air-conditioned, presumably, room.
Right.
Where she's not exerting, she's in a coma, so she might last
But the Grim is also sucking out her aura, right?
Which I think is the bigger issue
than
just
I'm just saying, there's a lot of, the girl is starving, man. But yeah, RWBY got hurt from the vines, which was part of the reason why they had to leave, basically.
Also, I'm suddenly hungry now, because, like...
Yeah, what the fuck? Okay, like, listen, what sort of school lunch... Like, you know, they have like a salad, okay, a croissant, fries.
That looks like an omelet.
Chicken wings? Mashed potatoes.
That's an omelet.
Yeah, that's an omelet, I think, with like ketchup
or something.
Cutlets. Yeah, these are like meat things that have like stuff in them, probably, and like steak, and like peppers and stuff. Like, could RWBY just not decide what to eat, so she grabbed everything? Like, this is reading to me like there were a couple options, and she just took all of them, which I thought was just really funny, because I'm like, does Beacon have the budget? Right? I bet Weiss is hungry too. Yeah, Hunter.
I don't know, man.
She is hungry. I do like this line.
I mean, did you see that food fight episode? Like,
oh man, that is true.
They had whole turkeys just there.
Oh man, yeah, that is true. That is true. And so yeah, I think that this was interesting because like Yang is basically like, I need some fresh air to calm down. I need to, like, you know, be alone for a while, and they all kind of do that. But they also leave RWBY alone to eat her lunch, which I think is sort of sad. But anyway, and so, yeah, Precious, he said, is that how she thinks about me? And I'm like, hello, White Rose.
It's been so long,
I know,
White Rose,
it's been so long,
but you've
White
returned
Rose.
to me.
Right, and so...
My old flame, my enemy, the last person I get to see.
I didn't realize that, like, RWBY was crying during this scene, but I did think that that was, like, you know, very, emotional. Also, let me just say, you know, if we needed some copium, this man has the same haircut as Yasuhashi. Do they look anything alike?
They do not
Absolutely
look anything alike.
But they do have the same haircut, so I guess we'll just take it.
Kinda?
We'll just take it. You know, yeah.
A lot. It's not exactly a unique haircut.
I know. I'm just saying.
Know?
I'm just saying. Like,
he's
clearly not Yatsuhashi.
He has Yatsuhashi's.
But when I saw him, I was like, what if Team Coffee's in the background? And they weren't.
He has Yatsuhashi's patented purple, green, and yellow frohawk. It's like, no, anyone can have that.
I know, I'm just saying.
Also, if Team Coffee were in the background, even if they were way in the back and it was a shitty little square,
I know.
You would have cropped that shitty little square.
Which was unfortunate. No Team Coffee, because I was so sure that Team Coffee would be in the background of the lunch scene.
Do you
so,
think
like, I'm
that,
a little depressed.
Do you think that Sun purchases... Oh, this is just like at the end of...
Kind of, but it's daytime.
The show, but it's in daytime.
Yeah, like end of Volume 1.
Do you think that he buys special Faunus pants with holes in the back?
No, I think he just cuts them.
Cuts it, because I feel like he's a DIY.
And so I really like Sun reads a lot more like a himbo than a frat boy, which I really appreciate in terms of like character archetypes. I also love the fact that like Yang, first of all, she's like thinking about, you know, like RWBY stuff, and I feel like that she takes what Weiss said to heart, actually, that she does think it is maybe kind of true, right? That
but a part of me is also just like, you've both gone through a lot.
Yeah.
Like, you lost your parents.
But
like,
that's why Yang has done it.
Yeah.
to keep. So it's almost like that her and Winter have a different approach. Like, Winter told Weiss about the harsh realities of the world because, you know, she already experienced it from Jacques and Willow and everything, right?
Part of me is like,
but on the opposite side, Yang had to sort of shelter RWBY because she had already been through so much hardship already. So I see it as two opposite things. Like, Yang chose to kind of keep the innocence that RWBY had left contained, whereas Winter decided, well, we'll just rip this Band-Aid off right now. Also, I love how in every shot they introduce Penny, there's something slightly off about her. You know, like with this shot, there's like slightly...
Her eyes are very big.
I don't know, there's something slightly off about her face, and I'm guessing that's like robot-like reference. The stream is good, Arnold. We're just talking about how there's no Team Coffee in the background of this scene. And I love how she addresses, like, hello, my friend Ruby's older sister. I thought that was really, really cute. And I thought that this was just nice because, like, we never really had a scene like this in the main show between them. Were you perhaps speaking with a being beyond my perception? I thought that was so funny because she's talking about God or something, right? And so I thought that was so funny. Like, Penny's just great. Or talking to someone from a dream. She's a little stubborn. And so I think that, like, I just love how, like, they gave kind of this lore of, like, how Penny thinks about dreams, and I thought it was, like, really, really nice, you know? And so I love this, too, because, like, look at this.
I also like that when she says mate, oh, yeah, that's hilarious, that, like, Nora has every drink in the world.
Yeah, I mean, you know, because they were orphans for a while, too. Also, can we get, like, confirmation on how they take their coffee through this? Because Ruby's is pretty
like,
light.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And then John's is kind of darker, and I think Pyrrha's is the same as Jaune. So I wonder if that's like...
And then Lyren had green tea.
Yeah, I think so.
And then Nora tried everything. So I think that that is a kind of good attention to detail.
I know, I thought that was cute. I love this, that, like, RWBY does not want to explain that they were, like, meowing, like, in the dream, right? And so, yeah, so you can see, like, look at this.
Like,
so
she's got
Nora has tried, like, she has the green tea. She's tried every variation of, like,
she's probably mixing them together.
4 sugar, 3 sugar, no sugar. Like, she's trying to, like, figure out what she likes. I thought that was just, again, nice attention to detail. And I just really like how, like, they've characterized Nora and, like, how she, like, sits and, like, things like that. I thought that was, like, really great. And I like this conversation that them realizing, like, when something's important to you, you want to hide it away and keep it safe. Like, you know, I thought that was, like, a good, like, revelation. And I thought this conversation was really good. Because now I think RWBY understands now, like, why Weiss is doing this, and that could help them when they actually go back into the dream. And see, I'm so sad. I wanted Juniper, again, we'll talk about the Jaune discourse at the end, but I think it's a real shame that the rest of Juniper could not, like, accompany them, like, in the nightmare,
at least they switched it up every time, you know?
Yeah.
It was just RWBY, then it's RWBY and Blake and Yang.
And I love RWBY's little face, like, of Jaune being like, I can recover quickly, you know, like, really? And see, this is what I mean about Penny, like, they always give her, like, very intense, like, kind of weird shots, and I just love that.
Do you think they're bringing up her maintenance because she's gonna be introduced into the dream world somehow?
I don't think so. I think that this is like, hold on, Hunter, I need to take a drink, so you'll have to carry the...
I was gonna continue your thought, and you were gonna say, I think that Penny is gonna come in the final hour and save the day.
No.
Just as Penny ought to do.
So, I think that, like, I don't think she's gonna come into the dream. I think that this is just rationale for, because... This is true. Like, this is scientific fact, right?
Do we know
like, people use not people, but, like, dreams are theorized to be your brain processing the information from the day and, like, learning how to solve problems. Like, that's why, like, if you say, like, sleep on it, like, sleep on it is, like, actually true. You know, I remember, this is kind of random, but I remember as a kid, I used to have dreams about Kingdom Hearts levels. And this was before YouTube, right? And I would dream about how to beat them, and then the solution would actually work. So, like, that, like, and I was, like, 7 and stuff, and there was no YouTube. There was no, like, YouTube tutorial. Like, there was no way that I could have, like, watched, you know what I mean, somebody else do it and have them succeed at it. So, I think that that's true. Like, don't you ever just wake up and suddenly know how to, like, fix your life, Hunter? Or, like, a math problem that you were trying to solve or something?
If anything, the one thing I get is the relief that I'm not actually back in 7th grade.
Oh my god. But yeah, that's actually true. Like, this
sweetie, if I wake up and then, oh, my life is fixed, I would be so much better off.
I know, but it's theorized that that's actually true. Like, I don't know, sometimes I think about things before going going to bed on purpose so that maybe I'll wake up and have an idea. Like, you know, so I think that this is true. Nobody knows what causes dreams exactly, but this is a theory, right? And so I think basically what Penny is saying is that, like, this is Weiss processing her life, you know, and this is how she sees her life, right? And so she too makes efforts to dream. To this end, I've conceived and programmed many different scenarios. So that's her trying to dream, right? You know what I mean? And I just think that that's such good lore that she's like, make it. See, I thought I was psychic, but I just wonder if it was like problem solving all along. But I did have like kind of weird psychic dreams too when I was a kid that maybe we'll talk about.
Oh my god, you brought up the shadow people already. Do you really need to bring your psychic premonitions?
I remember I would used to have really vivid dreams of certain things and then they would happen the next day and I never knew if it was like a coincidence or not. But like then my dad said it ran in the family. I don't know if he was just joking or like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, because I was like really little. I don't know if he was joking or not. But like, you know when you have deja vu and you're like, this has definitely happened? I used to have dreams of like stuff where like spiders would be in different places so then I could like tell my mom to go like, you know, get rid of them and stuff. And like when I woke up, they would actually be there. So I don't know if I just like subconsciously saw them and like remembered that. Or if it was like actually, you know what I mean? Like I would have a dream. I remember this so vividly, but once I had a dream about where a spider was at the cottage. And so then I woke up the next morning and I took my mom and the spider was in the exact same place. I don't know if that's just because like I saw it and forgot, like my brain just
knowing
like,
you and spiders, you wouldn't have forgotten.
Right? And so, but I remember having that dream and then the spider was there. And like, I always thought that was kind of weird, you know what I mean? That it like happened exactly like the dream did. And I had so many dreams like that, mostly as a kid, not so much anymore. But I used to have so many dreams about just like, I don't know.
You got the shine.
Things that I couldn't know, like stuff about like homework and stuff. I'd be like, oh, this homework's exactly like, you know, the homework was in my dream or whatever. Like, anyway. And so, yeah, I think
I'm sorry. Like, that was a joke, but also, you have The Shining and you never, like, brought it up?
I don't know. I swear I probably told you this
I think
before.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
Like, when we first met.
I love how you guys in the chat, you're just like, Cal. Cal. So I think that what Penny is saying is, like, if dreams are supposed to be processing information from your day, she basically makes, like, different scenarios for, like, problem solving so she, too, can have something like a dream, you know? And so I think that that's actually very interesting, right? And so I just love that. By swapping out different dreams, you can have different maintenance and everything. I just thought that this was really sweet, you know? And so I thought that this idea was interesting, because what if Weiss dreams about something that's not her dad and not an atlas and, like, something else, you know? Like, that could work, in theory. Because this is her processing her life in Atlas, but what if we switch it to something else?
Which is why we need to bring Zwei into the dream.
Oh my god.
Because just like you and many people, their mental health would be greatly improved by the introduction of a pet.
What if they could get her to dream about Beacon instead? Like, it could be something like that, right? Penny's also just so cute.
She's adorable.
But yeah, I think that this conversation with Sun was really good. I think that, like,
Did Sun always have that gold chain?
Yeah.
Huh.
And so I just think
why is that
like,
especially fuckboy of him?
I think that this conversation was really good because, again, like, Sun seems like less like a frat boy and more like a himbo, kind of like I said. Like, he has a positive outlook on
Sun is
everything.
at his best when he's more himbo than fat boy.
Exactly. And, like, they did Sun really well, in my opinion, here. He's not, like, I didn't really like Sun, right? In the first, couple volumes. I think he's much more likable here. He looks better, too.
In the first volume.
Just because, like, the 3D model did not do Sun any, like, justice, so he looks a lot better here. But yeah, they talk about the White Fang again, which is why I'm sort of wondering if, like, Adam will ever be in the dream, or, like, the representation of Adam, but I'm kind of leaning more towards no at this point. I'm sort of getting no, you know? But yeah, I just really liked the conversation between them.
So it's just like, I will make her accept me.
Yeah. Or like, I'm not going to give up like Adam gave up. I'm going to keep trying.
I don't know if that's actually good advice. Don't become a domestic terrorist, but some people...
Well, no. She's saying that she won't become like that. She'll keep trying through peace and mutual understanding. That's what she's saying.
I see.
Right? So I think that's the advice.
In my experience, peace and mutual understanding can only ever get you so far, but...
True. Believing that you can both change each other for the better.
It's better than
Isn't that what friends are for? Like, you know? So I think that that's kind of the idea. Sun is great when he has a personality outside of liking Blake, and that's what I feel like this is, right? He's actually giving very good advice, believing that other for the better. Isn't that what friends are for? And I think that's true. Isn't that nice?
Indeed.
Are you bored, Hunter? Is your ADHD acting up?
I just realized that I'm not wearing have to wear the headphones.
Oh,
and the
so you wanted to wear
right
the
there,
cat ears?
And I just feel more at home.
Can we talk about this too? Like, holy
delicious.
shit, man.
The food looks great.
The beacon budget.
I don't know what those little pink are. Those Turkish delights?
I have no idea.
Are those like powdered?
I don't know about these, but these are like those cookies with the jelly in it.
Yeah.
This is like big Italian grandma energy. You know, if you're Italian, you've probably seen the cookies with the almonds before. It's staple. Even these. Staple, okay? You know those cookie boxes that people keep like sewing equipment in and stuff?
Yes.
Right? These are the cookies that are actually in the boxes, you know what I mean? And so yeah, I've seen like all of this before. I don't know why, like I'm sure it's, you know, obviously like Japanese as well, but like the Italian energy of this, like you guys wouldn't understand unless you're Italian, you know? Because those are exactly the cookies inside of the box. And so I love how they just have a plate of cookies.
I'm glad that you actually had cookies filled, like boxes filled with cookies and not sewing equipment.
I mean, some of them are full of sewing equipment. Like, you know what I mean? You eat them and then you reuse the container.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, you know, we had both. That's a good thing is we had both, right? And so, yeah, I just really like them, like thinking about the plan, and I kind of like their conversation. Well, it wasn't strong when we thought it, so that implies that it got stronger after, you know what I mean? That it like, or I guess this is a different one. It's not the same Grimm, but like, I don't know, maybe they're all kind of like hive mind-ish, because they're all plants, right? So it's like how like, you know, okay, so this is random too, but I heard once, on a live stream that I watched a couple weeks ago, that like spicy food evolved to be spicy, so like birds would like shit it out and you could plant the seeds, right?
Yes.
And like it would be like like you could like repopulate, like the plant could repopulate. So I wonder if it's like, I know that these are different.
That's why fruit
pods
was created eventually. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I know that the one that infected Jaune should have been locked away. It shouldn't be the same one. But either like Shion infected Weiss with the same one that Jaune had to like make some sort of mutant pea pod or something. But the other thing I was thinking about was like, well, what if they're all different, but they're all like hive mind or something? So they're all like connected as a plant, even though they're different pods. And the plant itself is what's growing stronger. Or maybe they are just separate, I don't know. But yeah, I was thinking about like that sort of thing, that like the pod may be like from a hive mind of a plant, you know?
I see. And they have to go and find the
source maybe, I don't know. And so yeah, that's what I was sort of like thinking.
Oh, look at my baby.
Because I don't know, I kind of like the idea that Shion, if they're supposed to be morally questionable, like took the one from Jaune and infected Weiss with it, but I don't think that matches up timeline wise. I think Weiss was already infected. But again, maybe all the Grimm are like psychically connected. Yeah, exactly. Like there's a lot of nightmares, right? But I wonder if they're all like they're all seeds from the same tree. Just like how, you know, the pepper, when the bird shits it out, was originally, it's all from that one pepper, and then they spread and they grow more peppers, right? Or like, you know when people cut leaves so they can take the same plant and like make it more powerful and stuff? Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
Powerful.
Maybe something like that. More powerful, more spicy if it's a spice plant. I listened to somebody live stream and they were talking about like they're making their own chili plant or something, their own pepper, and what they're supposed to do. It's I'll just say it's Vesper. I was watching Vesper from Hollow Live EN. And so he was saying that like the way you're supposed to do it if you want to enter a competition is that you're supposed to like plant the pepper and then like plant a bunch of peppers and then pick the strongest one and then make more seeds from that one pepper and plant them again until it like gets the heat that you want, right? So that's what I'm basically saying. I wonder if the Nightmare Grimm are all, there's one source for all of these pods is what I was saying. And so yeah, that was a bit of a roundabout way to say that. And so I like you know, their plan, and like it's really like it's cute, and I like Blake's little foot stomp that she does in this scene. You know, and so I thought that was, you know, like, resolved, like, resolution, like, we're gonna do this, right? And I like her little, look at Blake's little smile. Nice to see Blake with a little smile, get to be happy, right? And so I thought that was, really cute, and everything.
Still can't do the cat face, it just never turns out.
Still no Team Coffee in the background. And so okay, I need to take a drink because we're getting to the discourse, okay?
Okay, so you were so excited because you were like, Team Juniper and Team RWBY sends Weiss teaming up.
So here's the thing. So they explain this all to Shion, right? And like this like plan and everything. It's possible to change what happens in the dream, but only if the dreamer sees it as a positive change, right? And so I wonder if they could make Weiss focus on Beacon somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, because her going to Beacon was the positive change for her
Yes.
life. Stop thinking about Atlas, focus on Beacon, right? I don't know. And so, yeah, I'm sort of thinking that maybe they could do something like that. Like, why don't we all go to Beacon, Weiss? Like, let's just get out of here. You know, get away from your father. Let's go to Beacon. Like, maybe that's something that they could try to do. And that could be the positive change. But then they would be in Dream Beacon, maybe, instead. And so I just really like all of this dialogue. Like, I thought that this was cute. And that she could change to something good and everything. But I think that what was interesting was like RWBY's idea has had precedent, which I guess was like bringing Jaune into the dream because they say he recovers quickly or something. And so yeah, so this is where things got
also,
like,
but it's also like the possession was treated like a disease that you could have an immunity.
Yeah, and so they talk about that. Like, Jaune's heart still retains the memory of hosting the parasitic nightmare. Other nightmares will mistake Jaune for someone who is still possessed and leave him the fuck alone.
Yeah.
So it's like a disease, it's like, I don't know, bacteria and stuff, right? And so I like this. You mean he's not worth noticing? And she says that, like, so happily. I know you guys can't see it, but we aren't gonna undo the thing for every little, you know. But the closer Jaune gets to the nightmare's body, the more of a reaction he'll have, right? And so, itching, difficulty breathing, and he could die, like, he could go in and die or something. That's what they said, like, he could, like, go into shock and die. I think I may have missed that one. Oh, yeah, he may die from shock in the dream. So I feel like this is the first, see, ew, dying in your sleep, that's definitely not what that's
also, like, how bad,
right?
you can tell she, like, is very nervous, but she...
I think it's supposed to be like, like creepy. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think they actually mean ew. Like,
please stay alive, Jaune.
Please stay alive.
I love how that represents how these people, like, react.
Yeah.
Like, Nora's like, oh, that's cringe. And then very solemnly, Lyren's just like, please don't die.
This was also...
And then Pierre's like, you won't die.
Again, on Shion being morally questionable, that face was a little, I don't know. There's something about that expression I was like, I don't know. But yeah, and so they basically have to search for the white pony that's in the Snow White coffin, right?
Yeah.
Which is something that we theorized before. I don't mean to frighten you, but if you fail, Weiss will fucking die. So yeah, there's that as well.
And you'll be Team RWBY.
Yeah, or something. And so yeah, like, I like this conversation that they had. I want to talk to her about all sorts of things, like, after they're, like, free from this and everything. Yeah, see, I don't know, man. Shion's eyes, I don't know if it's just... But, like, I don't know, why do they keep highlighting on stuff like that? So here's the thing. So let's now talk about the Jaune discourse, okay? I have some good news and some bad news. I'm assuming this means Jaune will help, but leave at a certain point, because he'll have a severe reaction the closer he gets to the nightmare. That's what they said, right? So I'm assuming that what may happen is that Jaune goes in with them, helps them to a certain point, and then fucks off. Like, he goes out, right? Or whatever. He, like, he helps get them out, basically. Or he leaves himself. He helps them get whatever they need to, and then he fucks off. That's, like, the best scenario, I think, right? In terms of what happens. Because he can't go that close to the nightmare, or he may fucking die. So I feel like there will be a point where they have to abandon Jaune, and he cannot help anymore, because he needs to leave.
I also feel like him breaking out in hives and, like, being allergic would kind of, like, open it up to, like, comedic
possibly,
moments.
Right? But, so here's that. That's what I'm imagining they're doing. But here's my take on the Jaune discourse, okay? Here's my thing. I understand how people feel, especially because, like, Volume 1 kind of had a Jaune problem, right? And people are even sort of hesitant about Jaune being on the island with all 4 girls, because people have expressed that they sort of wish that it was just the 4 girls on the island to have some quality
Neo's
time.
Also there.
Yeah, to have some quality time between the 4 girls and stuff. I think that Jaune will probably be the evil knight statue man that they need to fight, and that he won't be, like, involved in that way. So I think that people will ultimately get their wish, in terms of, like, Volume 9. I don't think that Jaune will be, like, a person. You know what I mean? I think he's probably gonna be, like, kind of evil, and they have to fight him. So people will probably get their wish on, like, the story being centered on the girls and possibly Neo, okay?
Yes.
And there's something else too. Hold on.
Big pregnant pause
So,
while Cal takes a swig of water.
Here's the thing. I know where people are coming from, but I think that we have to keep something in mind, right?
Yes.
The Japanese audience specifically hates Jaune, or at least they did, right? I don't know if that's true anymore. And like, go fact check this, I guess, but I have heard that from live broadcast, the Jaune arc was entirely cut because fans did not take well to Jaune being important and taking attention away from the main girls, even in like Japan, you know, like when RWBY started to get dubbed and stuff. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've heard, right? That like Jaune's little thing with like Cardin and stuff was actually like removed from a lot of live broadcasts because they knew that audiences really disliked it. Like they knew that audience disliked it, right? And so with that in mind, you would think that they would know that. So why would they include Jaune unless they were confident that they could at least do it in a way that doesn't upset people, right?
Yes.
And so that's sort of how I see it. Like, I understand that people are like, I hate when Jaune's important. Like, you know, it was nice when it was just the 4 girls. And I do think, like, my balanced criticism would be that I just wish that it was all of Juniper, because why not at this point? Just throw them all in there. Who cares?
Yeah.
They're all a presence in the dream. They clearly have a persona, so you could have all of
and
them.
like, can you really say no to like the help of Pura?
Yeah, you know, and so that's sort of what I that would be my criticism.
Also,
is I think it would have made more sense to have all of Juniper, but like I would ask to the people that are upset, you have to consider the fact that the writers, especially like, you know, the writers at like Shaft or like, you know what I mean? Like they know who people hate Jaune. Like they understand that people hate Jaune. Probably like there's probably more of the Eastern demographic that really did not like Jaune compared to the Western demographic, right? So they know how people react to Jaune being included in Volume 1 stuff. And so my consideration would be, is it possible that they're gonna fumble the ball on this? Sure, like, you know, maybe it is just a bad idea. They could have just had a bad idea,
I think
right?
it would make more sense to have the rest of Team Juniper in there.
You know, like, I would assume that they knew this, and so going in the knowledge that they knew that this could backfire, I'm going to go in with the hope that it's done well. Does that make any sense to you guys? I'm basically saying it would be like if I knew that, like, a video flopped, and then I went and made another video that was similar anyway. That wouldn't make a lot of sense unless I was really sure that this time things would work out. And obviously that can be misguided, right? But they clearly weighed the pros and cons of this and included Jaune. So for that reason, I'm not gonna like overreact quite yet. If they do this badly, I will like, you know, criticize it obviously. If they do it badly. But I think people are preemptively kind of overreacting, if that makes sense. Because, like I said, if you know that something is a bad idea, why would you willingly try to do it again? So I feel like that they obviously considered this, like, kind of heavily, you know? And so, with that consideration, I would say that they thought about it enough and thought about how the audience would react enough to make sure that they do it in a way where Jaune's not like, somebody said, what if Jaune's Prince Charming and he's the one that saves Weiss? I feel like that's what people are worried about. I don't think that that's gonna happen. Jaune's gonna help a little, and then at a certain point, he's gonna fucking
I think strategy-wise, it doesn't make much sense because he's the least talented fighter and he'll break out in hives the second he gets too close to the nightmare.
But his aura's unlocked now, so I guess that's the point. It's like now he has like a lot of aura. And so it's also joint between Shaft and RWBY, and RWBY also knows how much people hate Jaune and think that Jaune is a self-insert for Miles and stuff. So like they are aware of all of this criticism, but they did it anyway. So either they did it despite all the warnings,
they're suicidal,
or they thought that, you know, that they actually had a purpose to do this, right? So that's my argument, is that, like, we'll wait and see, of course. If it was a bad idea, we'll just cloud them and say that they shouldn't have done it. But they knew all of the risks of including Jaune in the plot and did it anyway. So clearly there must have been some sort of reason that they were confident that they could have executed this in a way that still puts the priority on the girls being the one, especially RWBY. You know, because RWBY's the one that's, like, precious to her to save Weiss. So that's my take on the discourse, is that I understand why people are a little hesitant, but from my mind, I guess I'm just assuming the best of them, and like they already know what people's criticisms were probably going to be when they decided to do this. And so I'm sure that it will turn out fine. I'm sure that they're not going to make Jaune Prince Charming, and he's not going to kiss her to like wake her up or something. I don't think that that's going to happen, right? And I think that people are concerned that they're going to make Jaune the hero. Yes. I think that that's what people are afraid of. I don't think that that's going to happen, you know? And so I think that, like, there's some sort of plan here for adding Jaune, but not that he's going to be the hero of the story. He's probably just going to help a little bit, maybe serve as a distraction, and then go away. Like, you know, and the girls will be the focus. And so, yeah, that's just sort of my opinion right now, is I understand why people are like, fuck. It was going well. What happened? But, you know.
I guess what made it bad in the original series is that Carden wasn't that interesting a villain.
Yeah.
It just kind of went on too long, and the previous, I guess, arcs were a lot more interesting. And it just kind of felt like it slowed down the pace of King and RWBY. I don't feel like that's going to happen here.
Yeah, and so my one criticism is I think they just should have had Juniper go in, honestly. Yes. I don't really understand why they couldn't have at all, other than maybe, but Weiss saw their weapons, so I don't even think that that's even a concern. Like, oh, Weiss doesn't know what weapons to give them because she never saw them, but she did see them in the flashback, right? So I think that that's kind of the misstep. However, I could see a situation where maybe Jaune goes in, and then Shion's like, shit. Like, you know, he's not doing so well. Like, somehow he knows that Jaune's not doing so hot, so Juniper goes in as backup. Like, they don't go in at first, but then in episode, like, 8 or something, they all decide to go into the dream, because this is, like, the last time they can really go in and save Weiss, so why not throw everybody in there and try to get them to help her, right? Yeah. So, basically, I have a bit more faith than I think the creators... like, then I think that some people do, right? You know, because I've seen a lot of, again, like, I hate when Jaune's important and, like, all that stuff. And I totally understand, because, like, I don't know if you guys remember, but for a while, I really hated Jaune. I did not like, people would make theories, and, like, Jaune would just be the most important person in the universe. And I hated it, and it made us so, like, exhausted. I think that's what eventually pushed us to stop doing, like, Patreon video tickets, because we were just getting, like, the most... Jaune is the hero and the harem protagonist. Like, it was just so bad after a while, right? I think that's what pushed us to finally end the video tickets. Like, please, we can't do this anymore, right? But I don't think that they're gonna do that. I think that they know better. So that's my, like, balanced take. But I do think it's kind of weird not to have Juniper go with them. That's my, like, one problem with this. It's not Jaune being important per se, but it's just that, like, why not have Juniper go too? I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Like, that's, you know, my take on it. I'm not, like, super angry yet. If they do it badly, then I'll be mad. I just think that, like, you know, it's... people can say whatever they want, right? And this isn't, like, a drag or, like, shade on anybody in particular. But I always think it's interesting when people get preemptively angry. Like, Jaune hasn't even done anything yet, and people are already mad. Like, you know what I mean? And so that's kind of what I'm just sort of like, but why are you mad now? Be mad after they fuck it up. You don't need to be mad yet, right? They haven't even done anything with him. We don't know what they're gonna do. And so that's just sort of like my attitude. Like, this would be like if we went into volume 9 and I was like, guys, they're gonna ruin Neo's character. They're gonna kill her off. And I was just like, you know, having like delusions about what they may do with Neo for like the entire thing, and I couldn't enjoy it. You know? I think it's fair to criticize something if you don't see it ending in a well direction, of course. But that's sort of like, that's how I would sort of equivalate this to, is that, like, imagine if for the entire, like, volume 9, I was just paranoid about what they would do with Neo the entire time, and so I couldn't enjoy anything. That's kind of how I see this a little bit, is, like, people are preemptively angry, but be angry after they fuck it up, because that's the reality, too, is, like, they can't change anything. It's already happening, so, like, it's one of those things where we have to see how it plays out.
We're all on the ride here.
We're all along for the ride, like, whether they do them poorly or not. But yeah, that's sort of my thing. I like to wait a little on how things play out before I give, like, too much criticism. And obviously, you know, if you have criticism now, you can give it. But that's just my mentality, I guess, is that sometimes I like to wait and see with something like this. Because this feels a little too preemptive to be mad yet. Because he hasn't even done anything, really. You know, we don't know how they're gonna do him yet. So yeah, I don't know. That's just my opinion, I guess. And again, like I know, because, you know, big people in the community have talked about this criticism about Jaune and IQ. And I'm not saying that to like shade any of them. I'm just saying like, I don't know, some people may be like, but Cal, why didn't you have a take already? And I was just like, well, I don't have a take yet. We have to see what happens first, I guess.
It can go good, it can go poorly.
So, you know, it's not a negative reflection on them. I'm just sort of saying this is why I'm not like,
if it becomes Jaune Queendom, like then I might have problems. But
yeah, I guess that's kind of what I want to specify as we kind of close out here is like, I think that Critter may have a criticism because I saw their thumbnail and it had Jaune and a bunch of no all around it. And so like, I'm not saying that in terms of like, oh, you know, Critter shouldn't have this criticism about Jaune or like non-such shouldn't have this criticism about Jaune. It's just like, you know, some people ask like, okay, Cal, where's your Jaune take? Right? And I'm just like, well, I don't have one yet, you know, like I just want to kind of wait and see. And there's no like right or wrong way, but that's just sort of how I feel is I kind of want to wait. So yeah, like I just want to see what they're going to do with him first because, you know, what if they do Jaune good? Then you would have been, like, you would have been all worked up, like, for you know, for nothing, I guess, like, because then it wasn't a problem. But I do understand why people are worried, because, like I said, I went through the trenches of Jaune will kill Salem and, you know, and save RWBY, and, like, RWBY will lose an eye, but it's okay because Jaune will be there. Like, I went through it, so I understand, like, I know. But yeah, I just kind of want to wait. Do you have a Jaune opinion other than Juniper?
I think I let my Jaune opinion be known that I don't think it's going to be disastrous just yet. I do think having all of Juniper there would be fun.
If it gets disastrous, like, what's the most disastrous scenario? Is it like Jaune becomes Prince Charming and kisses
that Jaune has to save the day and he's like the thrust of it. Yeah, and it's all like everyone else falls by the wayside and it's all Jaune 24/7.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people didn't like about the stuff with him in Volume 1.
Yeah.
And I think that's not going to happen again here.
I agree. I think that he's just going to help them get to a certain point
honestly,
and then leave.
I think he's going to be comedic relief.
Maybe. I mean, they've all been pretty funny, but...
Yeah, but so far it's mostly been like... Yang's been the comedic relief, and I feel like Jaune's going to start to pick that up. So
I think it'll also just sort of be like, Jaune will help us figure something out, and then he'll leave. Like, I kind of see it that way, like... RWBY, I can't go with you because the Grim will hurt me, but like, good luck, bro. Like, that's kind of how I, that's kind of how I see it. But yeah, touching grass is not enough. I need Jaune to go away, damn. I know, that's so funny. But yeah, I don't have a problem with this yet. I'm just side-eyeing it because, again, I think it would have been nice to have all of Juniper here. That's my solid middle-of-the-road take, is that I wish that Juniper went with them, and I think that's kind of the poor decision. But Jaune going, in theory, may not be the worst thing. It may just be like, I don't know, Jaune's kind of a plot device to help them do something or something like that. But yeah, guys, is there anything else that you guys want us to talk about before we leave? I'm also just gonna, like, link the Ice Queendom reaction, because, like every week, the reaction is still stuck in Rooster Teeth jail.
It's going to be wild when it gets out of Rooster Teeth.
I don't even know if it'll ever get out of Rooster Teeth jail, to be honest. I know, like, Arnold said that he may just wait until Ice Queendom is over to figure it out, and I'm kind of like, I'm feeling that as well right now.
Yeah.
I may just wait until Ice Queendom is over to figure out what we're going to do with it exactly. So, if you want to watch our reaction, remember to go check out the Patreon, because it's going to be there for a while. Like, a couple of months, at least it'll probably be on Patreon just while we figure out exactly what we're going to do. But yeah, I think that's basically it from us, guys. Join the Discord server. The link is in the description. I think that the Discord server link that we have right now actually works. But yeah, that's basically it. We won't be here next week. Remember that, because Hunter is going on little vacation, and I don't want to watch the episode without her. So there is no Ice Queendom stream next week. There may be other streams, but it won't be for Ice Queendom, and Hunter will not be there. I may just be doing something. We will not play the cat game until Hunter gets back, but we may play the cat game before Hunter leaves this week.
Yes.
That's something. Fox and Neo week is next week. I'm gonna go draw because I only have one piece of art done, and there are 7 days, and there's like 10 pieces of art, and I only have one finished. So yeah, that's basically it. In terms of everything that I have to say. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the stream. I hope that you guys had fun. Thank thank you for attending Calxiyn's Royal Court. Remember all those links and all that stuff in the description, and we will see you guys